Hi, my name's Megan and I'm from Be The Change, and I'm here to tell you about a really exciting program that I have going that I'm doing myself, and I'm starting it tomorrow, and it's called a 10-day challenge, and this is from Anthony Robbins from the book Awaken the Giant Within, and I've decided to take this challenge on, so I'm making this video today to tell you about that challenge and to get you guys on board too. And so this is what the challenge is. For the next 10 days, beginning immediately, you need to commit to taking full control of your emotions. That means by deciding right now that you will not dwell on anything at all that's unresourceful, an unresourceful thought or an unresourceful emotion for 10 consecutive days. So that's 10 days without dwelling on anything at all that is unresourceful. It's important that we change our worried state immediately by focusing on the solution instead of focusing on a problem. So what you'll need to do is ask yourself questions when you start to get worried, such as, what do I need right now to make this situation better? And what can I learn from this? Or what is great about this situation and what's not yet perfect? Our goal is not to ignore any of the problems. It's not to just say, oh, they don't exist, and to ignore them. The goal is to put ourselves in a better mental, emotional state where we can only come up with solutions and we actually act upon them. In life, we often spend about 80% of our time on focusing on a problem instead of the solution. What we need to do is flip that, and we actually need to spend 90% of our time on the solution. So in other words, don't sweat the small stuff. So by giving yourself 10 days focusing entirely on the solution and what's great in your life and what works and how lucky you are and all the beautiful affirmations, you will actually not make your problem worse because you're not ignoring it. These strong new patterns that you will actually be developing in your mind will actually make you stronger. So once what you thought was a problem, you'll actually be able to assume a new identity, and you'll be unstoppable and a human and a joyous human being because you'll be able to find a solution straight away. But before you begin on this challenge, and I need to do this as well, there are actually 4 simple rules that you will need to follow, and this is what they are. Rule number 1. In the next 10 consecutive days, you are not to dwell on anything at all that's unresourceful, that's a thought or a feeling. So you have to refuse to indulge yourself in your problems. Rule number 2. When you catch yourself beginning to focus on the negative, don't beat yourself up, okay? Don't get angry. You'll just need to implement techniques so that you can change your emotional state. So these techniques might be switching your focus. So you might need to switch your focus onto something that is more positive instead. You might need to ask some really important questions, such as, what is the beauty in this? What can I learn from this? How will this help me to grow as a human being? You might need to implement 5 things so that straight away you will be able to come up with some way to switch your emotional state from being in that negative, unresourceful state to a positive one. So for me, it's doing a crazy dance, or it might be singing, or putting on my runners and going for a run, or it might be words of affirmation. So whatever it is for you, try and come up with at least a minimum of 5 strategies. And also I find water really helps me too, so getting in the shower, just anything at all, so that within a minute or 2 you can change your emotional state. And you need to be able to do that, those strategies straight away. So it's really important also that every morning that you wake up, you set yourself up for success. So that is by having these morning power questions that I can put on our Facebook change on, that's www.facebook.com/BeTheChangeCoaching. If you go to that, you'll be able to see these power morning questions that you might want to ask yourself to start your day right. And these questions are brilliant. So just remember that you might need to say the affirmations over and over again to change your state. And remember that by doing this kind of challenge, you will be demanding empowering emotions. You will be demanding enriching thoughts and inspiring questions that are actually going to be resourceful. And don't let this 10-day, do not start this 10-day challenge unless you plan on sticking through with it. So you must stick to it for 10 consecutive days. If this is rule number 3, you must not take a break. So it has to be 10 consecutive days in a row. Rule number 4 is if you backslide, if you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts, dwelling upon them, anything that's unresourceful, don't beat yourself up. There is no problem with this. Just so long as you get back on track, switch your thinking straight away, implement those strategies, do the things that you know how to do to switch your mental state. So as long as you do that, that is fine. But if you do dwell on the thoughts, on the unresourceful emotion, whatever that may be, then for longer than 1 minute. So we're going to give you 1 minute. So if you dwell on it for longer than 1 minute, then you actually need to start the 10 consecutive days all over again. So you might be up to day 9 and you have to start again. You might be day 1 and you have to start again. So if you do dwell on an unresourceful thought for longer than 1 minute, you must start the 10 consecutive days again. This is because we're trying to change our immediate response to a situation to being one that's resourceful instead of one that's unresourceful. So if you are up for the challenge, then let me know about it. I will be writing a little bit about the challenge, what stretched me, what didn't, if I need to start again, which I might, I'm not sure, so we'll see. And doing this challenge, it would just give you an incredible sense of joy and of commitment, knowing that you stuck with it. And majority of people that actually do this challenge do not go back to their unresourceful ways of thinking. So the 10 days is enough to change their natural response to a negative situation, from being unresourceful to actually being resourceful. So most importantly, you'll be able to create new habits, new standards, have new expectations of yourself that will help you expand and grow. So if you're up for the challenge, then join me and let me know how you're going. It would be great to hear from you, and I look forward to sharing my journey with you over the next 10 days. So let's become happier, positive, more resourceful human beings. So good luck with it all, and we'll keep in touch.